Hello everyone. Let's discuss about physiology of menstrual cycle. So we will discuss about the physiology of menstrual cycle with the help of this picture which is taken from Spiroff. So this involves the multiple hormones. First is the FSH, which is being released by anterior pituitary once the pituitary gets signals from the hypothalamus, which releases the gonadotropin releasing hormone. FSH acts on the Graafian follicles of the ovary and estradiol starts getting released. Once the estradiol, it crosses more than 200 picogram per ml and it stays for more than 50 hours in the body, the LH starts rising, which is known as LH surge. Once the LH peak happens, after that around 10 to 12 hours after that, the ovulation will happen. The ovulation happens and the corpus luteum is formed. Corpus luteum releases progesterone and estrogen, and these both lead to feedback inhibition on FSH and LH. So we can see here the FSH and LH are at their least. The green one is the FSH, which is also at its least, and the LH, the purple one, is also at its nadir. So if in case pregnancy, the conception happens, the corpus luteum will remain. But if pregnancy does not happen, the corpus luteum breakdown starts happening on around day 22. So once the corpus luteum breakdown starts happening, the progesterone and estrogen will start falling, and then because of the feedback, the FSH again starts rising, and another next menstrual cycle will begin once the FSH again starts rising. We can see here the FSH is again start rising only for the beginning of the next menstrual cycle. So the important things which we needed to see from this diagram are, it is the FSH which leads to increase in the estradiol, it is the estradiol which leads to increase in the LH. High amount of estrogen has a positive feedback on LH, but low amount of estrogen has a negative feedback on LH. In the same diagram we can see the high amount of estradiol is leading to positive feedback on LH, while low amount of estradiol has a negative feedback on LH. So this thing is something which we need to be very careful about. The same thing applies to the progesterone also. The small amount of progesterone rise leads to the increase in the FSH. We can see here one more peak is there. We will discuss more about this in the later slide. So this small amount of progesterone is leading to the positive feedback on FSH. Okay, so this is the opposite of this thing. While more amount of progesterone is negative feedback on the FSH. So these 2 points are very important to understand the physiology of menstrual cycle. So the same thing is shown here in this picture. We can see the E2 peak, which is shown in the red. Around 24 to 36 hours after E2 peak, the ovulation is happening, while after 10 to 12 hours after the LH peak, the ovulation is happening. So coming on to this picture, we can see here this green dotted line. There is a small peak in the FSH during the mid-menses, the mid-menstrual cycle. Now, why this small peak is happening? This small peak happens because of the small increase in progesterone. So the mid-cycle rise in FSH is because of the small increase in progesterone, and it has its own implications. It frees the oocyte from follicular attachment. It converts the plasminogen to the proteolytic enzyme plasmin, which is important for follicular rupture so that the oocyte comes out. It ensures that sufficient LH receptors are present to allow an adequate normal luteal phase. Another thing which we need to see here is this inhibin B, which is getting peak, the blue peak is happening after ovulation. From where this inhibin B is coming? It is most probably result of release from ruptured follicle. So this was a crisp and clear discussion about the salient points regarding the menstrual cycle. We'll see again in the next video, which will be related to the basics of reproductive medicine. So thank you everyone for watching the video.